guys! Today I am back with a video in English, and for today's video I wanted to talk about something which I find very interesting and very important, even though it might seem like a very personal thing. I'm going to get rid of those. So I have made a video in French which was a bit more elaborate, I suppose, because I was using a book as a base for my analysis and my thoughts. I think the book has been translated into English, probably. It's called La Domination Masculine by André Bourdieu, so The Male Domination by Bourdieu, who was a French philosopher, sociologist, whatever you want to call him. And so this book really analyzes basically what it says that it does, the male domination in our societies and how it is structured and how it is built and how it works. And one part of the book really is interesting. It talks about, how we're attracted to people based on certain phenomena, and those phenomena are not really natural, nor are they personal or completely, unique to our identity, our individuality, but how more so they're, results of standards and ideas and representations that are happening in society and that are mostly based on patriarchy and things that aren't really positive either. So today I wanted to talk about types. I guess you've probably guessed it, and I mean the title says it already. It might seem, as I said, like a very trivial question, but I definitely think it is not. Because personally, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I don't think that's just me. I think relationships are very important. Relationships that we have with people as human beings are a very, very important part of who we are, and it just builds ourselves so much. It just opens our horizon or not. It brings new experiences, new feelings. It's just a wonderful thing altogether. And I wouldn't have the pretension to think that I'm so woke or so awake or so aware of what's happening around me that I am completely free from any pressure and construction and representation from society. But I definitely think that I've come a long way and that I'm really, really, really open and kind of free from most of those things, which is not the case for all the people that I know. And actually discussing and interacting with people was the one thing that really made me realize how open I was, I suppose you could say, when it comes to relationships and attraction. Okay, I just want to say first of all that I haven't had many relationships. I had one boyfriend when I was 16 until I was 18, and I've had experiences. I mean, not experiences. I've met people after that. That's just what happened. I have met people. So by meeting people, I mean I've been out with people, I've been talking with people, I have, just gone on to dates, but not really dates because they were not like real dates. They were just, meeting someone, chatting, having a drink, going to the movies, perhaps, so that kind of stuff. But it never went further anyway. But in terms of attraction, once again, I really want to just say that my attraction to people is not necessarily an attraction that I want to act on, and it's not necessarily an attraction that's very strong. But when it comes to attraction, like getting interested into someone, finding someone charming, finding someone physically or emotionally attractive, I have really been all over the place. I've been really all over the place. Like, age doesn't matter, gender does not matter, nationality, ethnicity, religions, even physical appearance. I couldn't really say that there's something that I would never be attracted to, or that there's something that I would naturally gravitate towards. It is probably true that there are things I appreciate, but even once again, I don't really think that's very, very important. And I used to think that everyone was like that until I realized that my friends, first of all, really were not. I am the only one in my friends who has been attracted to people of different race or ethnicities. Like, all of my friends have been attracted to white people and white men. And that's just so bizarre to me because France is a very multicultural, I don't know if you could really put it that way, but in France basically you don't only meet whites. So to think that you've been attracted only to whites, to me, is a bit bizarre. And I don't want to say that my friends deliberately chose to be attracted to whites or are racist, because that's definitely not true. But they definitely do say sometimes things that could be considered as racist. Or I mean, when we were younger, definitely. And as someone who's now, you know, like, I've been attracted to people who were Asian. I've been attracted to people who were Arabs. I've heard things that were really crazy, like, you know, Asian men are not attractive, Asian men are so small and fragile and not manly. What does that even mean? And who tells you that I want someone who's manly? When it comes to Arabs, you know, all those things about Islam, all those things about, first of all, Islam, obviously Muslim and Arab are very different, but, you know, in people's minds. All those things about Islam, all those things about freedom, all those things about being, you know, not right and not good and correct towards women and that kind of stuff. And it really is, for me, something very strange to think about. I've also been attracted, or I mean, not necessarily attractive, but I can find someone appealing, I can find someone charming, someone beautiful, whatever, even if they're little, even if they're short, even if they're shorter than me. And that's a big no-no for my friends. They're like, I can't be with a guy that's shorter than me. Or people who are really older, like really older, or people that were really younger. And for my friends as well, it's like a no. And, you know, chatting more and more with my friends, and then expanding it to people that I would meet, to colleagues or whatever, I realized that I was very, very open. And it's a bit bizarre for me, because I don't think I'm very open. I just think people are very closed and narrow-minded when it comes to attraction and desire, because they would rather date or be with someone who is considered attractive, who is considered successful, who is considered to be a good person, rather than being with someone they really appreciate. And I think it's so sad, because we arrive at a point, like, we're coming to a point where, for a lot of people, I think they don't really even know what they're attracted, I mean, not what they're attracted to, they can't even, I think, recognize sometimes when they're attracted to someone, because this someone has something that's deemed and seen as negative by society, which is, you know, maybe if that's a guy, he's not manly enough, he's not tall enough, he's not, and then no matter the gender, you know, first of all, perhaps it's the wrong gender, perhaps you're a girl and you're attracted to a girl, but you don't admit it to yourself, which is a different story, because there's a question of violence and safety and stuff behind it. But anyway, or then, you know, the question of money, the question of education, the question of religion, and you know, even more, like, even things that are so superficial, but I think it's very common, like how people dress and how people act and what people wear, that kind of thing, it actually matters for people, and that's very surprising to me. And so, you know, there is this whole thing about just the fact that when you have a type, which I think a lot of people do, even sometimes people who say they don't have a type, I feel like they do, because then I would go and say, oh, this person is good looking, oh, this person is charming, whatever, and they're like, oh my god, no, look at how, I don't know, look at how big, or look at how short, or look at how Asian, or look at how black even, you know, you don't even know. Or I don't know, those weird things, really. Just, for me, that's just really weird anyway. And I'm like, I thought you didn't have a type, but clearly there are things you are not willing to compromise on, or things that you're not willing to just embrace with like a new and fresh mind, and like a benevolent and caring and loving and open approach, which is such a shame in my opinion. Like, it really is a shame. So there is this whole thing, but then again, when you have a type, it's, first of all, I think it's really a shame, and then it's not a personal thing. And I'm always very surprised at how people are so confident in themselves that they think all that they do, all that they think, or most things that they do, most things that they think are, you know, just the result of their own personality, their own experiences, when in fact it really isn't. Most of the time, society is so strong, the group is so strong. We always want to conform. We've been raised in a society, we've been brought up in a society, and to think that, you know, we are exempt from being influenced or pressured in ways that we can't perhaps necessarily recognize immediately or very obviously. I think it's so pretentious, really. I would say that there are a lot of things I still need to work on. So when I see people who are like jumping into the stereotype of I can't go out with a guy that's shorter than me, or I can't possibly fall in love with someone who does not wear that kind of clothes because I don't find it sexy or I don't find it attractive, or someone who's like, I would not be able to share things with someone who hasn't got the same level of education as me. It's just like you're saying the most stereotypical things that society would like you to say, but you refuse to know, or you refuse to see that it's not you, that it's just, you know, the pressure and the brainwashing from society is just really sad. And it's so linked to you know, racism and queer hate and hatred and this imperialism thing and those dynamics of power. It's very alarming, and it's very sad to see that it has gotten to the point where it's entering our private lives, to the things which are the most private, which is love. And love is a beautiful thing, but then again, and that's a very bitter thing to say perhaps, but when love is subject and object of so many conditions and so many pre-requirements, is it still love after all? To me, not really. So sometimes actually online I get comments such as, what's your type, what kind of person are you attracted to? And I'm like, honestly, I'm attracted to people who are kind, people that I feel comfortable with, people who share values with me, people who are good people in my eyes. And it sounds so cliche to say perhaps, but that's actually very true, because now thinking of the people that I've been attracted to any extent in my life, they were all so very different physically, as I said, age, gender, all those things. So you could not really say that there is something, you know, physical appearance matters, because that's definitely something that matters. That's something you see, something you appreciate. But I feel like it's the whole thing put together, like the personality, the energy, the vibe, the feeling, and the physical appearance, and the way people behave and conduct themselves that makes someone attractive. It's just not physical things or academical things or money things put together that make someone attractive, in my opinion. And so, as I said, it's a personal thing, so people would be like, well, who are you to judge personal preferences? But I think it's important because, as I said, it's very tied on with gender, with racism, with power dynamics, even queer and transphobic things as well. And I find it very sad. Very, very sad, actually. It's something that makes me kind of sad. And it's something that's hard to deal with, because that's why being, for example, in a gay relationship is difficult, why being in an interracial relationship is difficult, why being with someone with an age gap is difficult. You know, all those things, it's because people don't only apply those ridiculous and harmful standards and ideas and rules to themselves, but they also want to project them on others. And it's actually really, really hurtful and painful sometimes. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I would really love to hear your opinion on that, guys. I think it's a very important subject that we could go on forever talking about, but I'm going to stop here and I'll talk to you soon.